Hello, Year 7. This is Mr. Hinchliffe speaking, welcoming you to your last history lesson of the half term. We just want to convey our thanks to you as a year group. Your engagement and hard work has been absolutely fantastic in history, and on behalf of the department, we'd like to really show our appreciation for that. We've given many LOCs out based on that hard work, and we really want to hope that continues after the half term. I just want to talk through some really great pieces of work that we've seen again from the assessment preparation lesson, and there was so many to choose from. And here's just a couple of responses that I thought were particularly detailed. The first one is Isa in 7G, and he was explaining the biggest impact he found from the Renaissance era, and he's gone for culture, and he's kind of mainly focused on architecture. And I really like how he mentioned how new designs such as domes, so the Duomo in Florence, as we mentioned to you in the first lesson, can be seen in St. Paul's Cathedral, and that kind of influence from the Italian Renaissance on Britain. He's also talked about how theatre changed hugely and how it went from being very highly religious, and then it kind of started to develop more during the Renaissance era and the works of William Shakespeare. Leone as well in 7H again has gone for art, culture and education, and that element of the Renaissance, how new cultures entered Britain, new styles. I think that's a really, really great point there about new clothing styles, and you're completely right. The style did completely change. Fashion became a huge element of people's lives after the Renaissance period, and obviously as well, very topical. Education has meant that medicine has developed, and we look at that at GCSE, and vaccines being created, and yeah, you're absolutely right. They're doing really good work. And finally, Zoa as well in 7H has actually gone for the Age of Discovery, the circumnavigation of the globe, and from Sir Francis Drake, and how the map making improved, but also as well discovering the Americas had a huge impact, and the trade as well with that West Africa that developed became very profitable. It did obviously then lead to the slave trade and the British Empire, but again, a huge impact on history, and really extra great effort from Zoa to kind of comment and use the criteria of the R's. So looking at remarkable and remembered, that's really, really great work there. So fantastic work. What I'd like to do then is just talk you through your assessment and the last lesson that you will be doing, so I can just talk you through exactly how this works. So you've used the form for the assessment prep, and hopefully you found that really useful to use, and that's why in the history department we're trying to amend, and we're trying to make it so that our resources are as accessible as possible to you. Okay, so we've been asking the big question: how did the Renaissance era change Britain? So you're going to answer that question in this assessment by first answering a low stakes quiz like you've been used to doing. That's going to be formed of 10 questions. A lot of those questions are questions you've already done before, so it's just checking your knowledge, and then writing 2 petal paragraphs. The minimum that you would write is 1. We would only expect to see a maximum of 2, really. We don't want any more than 2, although that is completely up to you. You will be awarded a level, Foundation to Excelling, by your history teacher, who will read through your work and give you that level as well. I just want to stress this. This is an important piece of work. We would expect you to spend at least 35 minutes writing your answer. That's how long you would have in a normal lesson, 35 minutes. So I recommend when you sit down to write this that you actually put a timer on, and you shouldn't be going over that time really. You shouldn't be spending hours on this. It should be 35 minutes max. We can see how long it takes you to complete. So if you're spending 5 minutes, that's not enough time. The low stakes quiz should take about 10 minutes, although some of you will complete that quicker. But again, take your time with the low stakes quiz. Don't rush it. You want to make sure that you get as many questions as correct as possible. So I'm saying the total lesson time is 45 minutes for this lesson. This video will be uploaded onto the form just like last week, so you'll be able to see that, and when you first load up the form you will see it here with the video instructions. Obviously if you're using a mobile device, again it will be here as well, but obviously most of you are using computer. So you click next. Right, the low stakes questions. The school has a slogan that we use, and it's called "Knowledge is Power," and you can see a huge bicep here and a brain. The more knowledge you have, the more understanding you will gain as well, and the better your answers will be in your assessments. So the first thing you need to do is just answer the following questions. The first one is the word Renaissance means, and again it's the multiple choice and all the way through, and you can see that each question has a point that you're awarded, and that is self-marked. There is only one right answer for every single question, so you should be a straight 10 out of 10. Again, I mentioned this last week. If you didn't see the video last week, you have got the immersive reader, and the immersive reader is really helpful because it tells you the question. It reads it out for you. I'm not going to play it again now, but if you like to have questions read out to you, you can use the immersive reader if that's helpful. Okay, do note the background. There's some things here that we've covered during the scheme of work, so that might help with some of your answers as well. I'm just going to click the first answer for each one here. That's not necessarily the correct answer. It's just I have to, because of the mandatory asterisks, I have to put an answer in. You're obviously going to take a lot more time and care when you go through these questions. Okay, you won't get a score until the end, so I can just take you through this part here. So this is the milestone sheet. It usually is orange, and you should be used to these sheets now after completing several months at Joe Richardson. So we use this so you can read this to see what you need to do to achieve your level, and when we mark your assessments, we also use this criteria to mark it as well. So please check your target if you know what it is, and think about the criteria you need to do to get into that level. So we'll just look at excelling just for a brief example. An excelling student is going to produce petal paragraphs consistently. They're going to include multiple pieces of evidence, so not just one, as many pieces of evidence as they possibly can. They're going to make links to the question, how did the Renaissance era change Britain? They're going to explain the roles of different factors, like the economy or culture or migration, religion, all those kind of things, and come to a judgment and say which one was the most important. That's what an excelling student does. So you can look through your target and see which area you need to make sure you do. So please make sure you spend time doing this and looking at it. You might even want to take a photo of it so you can use it when you write your answer. The structure for the petal paragraph. So in your lessons before Christmas, we would have gone through this. So hopefully this is familiar. But again, this is the basic outline, and you want to make sure, it's really important, you start with a clear point. You say the main reason why the Renaissance era changed Britain was because of, and then think again of those factors I just mentioned. So religion, culture. So Isaac's going to say culture because he argued that before. Zoe is going to say because of the age of discovery, whatever factor you think was the main reason. For example, there you need to provide your factual evidence, specific factual evidence. So for example, Sir Francis Drake circumnavigated the globe, or architecture was influenced from Italy, like the Duomo. This meant that, so an explanation of the evidence. As a result, so explain why it changed Britain, and then your link, which is the same as the point. So whatever the point was, would be the link as well. So therefore, the main reason why the Renaissance era changed Britain was because of, whichever factor you used, culture or age of discovery or migration or the Black Tudors or anything like that. Again, I recommend you take a photo of the structure so you can use that when you're doing your answer as well. Okay, so once you've gone through the low stakes, you've gone through the milestone, and then you've gone through the paragraph structure, you will get to this section, which is the last section of the form. And it kind of just outlines what is outlined at the very beginning, talking about the maximum and minimum expectations of what you should write and the Key Stage 3 level and how much time you should spend on this as well. But then it gives you a little bit of help, and it mentions some of the topics that we've covered since the start of January. So the changes to culture, and in brackets it's got some of that evidence. The changes to religion, the Protestant Reformation, the changes to exploration, so that's including the Age of Discovery, trade with West Africa, the colonies like Jamestown in the Americas, and the establishment of the Royal Africa Company, and then the changes to migration. So the Black Tudors, John Blank, Jack Francis, Mary Phyllis, Edward Swarthy, those people as well. So they're there to help you when you write, and you can see obviously you've got the images in the section here that you can look at as well. For supported learning, if you've been using the supported learning documents to help you, here is an example paragraph with a word fill, and all you need to do is you can copy and paste this into the paragraph here, and to do that, all you'd need to do is you just highlight the whole thing, and you can just right click and click copy, and if you click on here and you write paste, you can then write in the answer, and you can see here you've got the word fill here. So these are the words that you can add. So what you'd want to do is obviously delete the line that's there, so you can write in the right answer. You might need to use some of those words more than once. Okay, and a challenge is to attempt your own paragraph on another reason why the Renaissance era changed Britain. Just be aware, obviously, if you are really struggling, you can use the supported learning, but we would obviously want you, if you don't usually use this, we'd want you to make sure you write your own 2 paragraphs so we can assess you properly. And that's it. So you've got 10 points here. So your teacher will award you out of 10 what they think you got for the answer, and then when they give this and return this back to you, they will be able to give you a Key Stage 3 level. Okay, that is it. So thank you for your hard work this year so far. We hope that the assessment goes well. Don't hesitate to email any of your subject teachers or myself if you have any questions about this, and we'll happily get back to you with as much information as possible. And we really hope you have a good half term. Make sure you take some time to spend relaxing and recuperating, and we hope to see you very soon back at Joe Richardson, back in school after the half term. Okay, Year 7, thank you very much.